Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and believe it or not, it seems to be official that Bilderberg 2020 has been at least postponed. Now, back when South by Southwest had announced that it had canceled, I said, get ready. This is the new cancel culture. And with something like Bilderberg, I don't know that they can, telework it, have Zoom meetings with each other. I'm pretty sure that that's not how that club works. And the other thing about Bilderberg is not only do you have the speeches, the seminars, the topics that they put out for the public, but then you have the after hours meetings between certain members. So let me just explain how huge this is. This is huge in so many regards because it shows you that these people know there are going to be global restrictions into May and June. They have had some, mid-May. They have had some early June, some late June. I think even a couple early July, if I'm not mistaken. But last year it was from May 30th to June 2nd. And why is that significant? Well, of course, because that's the end of May. And where are we right now? We're in the end of March. And we just had President Trump come and give his press conference and talk about another 30 days of shutdown. So we're going to go over all the important corona news today and what it means for everybody. Cuomo's pushback, whether that's real or WWE wrestling, where the military status is, who the officials are you're told to be trusting. Remember, Fauci is now going out and saying 100 to 200,000 deaths. And guys, again, doesn't matter what you believe about the virus. I'm just putting out not only their talking points, but what is officially being done military-industrial complex style right now. Because, as I said, the wheels are very much in motion. And what does the solution seem to be? Listen to world government. Listen to governments. And if you've watched my Event 201 series, we got one more video to go. It'll probably be a two-parter just like everyone. We've gone through 4 of their videos. You'll know that there are so many parallels from their 2019 Johns Hopkins, Bill and Melinda Gates, Davos World Economic Forum, coronavirus outbreak, novel coronavirus outbreak from a South American pig on a farm. And thank you, Flick Off. That's appreciated. To this, it's got to be explored. And now that you have global elites, what I would call many of the predator class, generations of the predator class, not being able to meet, that's extremely, that's cultural, right? This has gone on every single year since 1954. And for this to be moved, I think it's enormous. I was asking the questions, and somebody actually sent me this, and I couldn't believe it, and I went and checked it out myself. All right, so let's continue through a lot of the news, and I think this is important. This is from The Economist. They're tweeting stuff like this out. Big government is needed to fight COVID-19 pandemic. It may not shrink again afterwards. No, it's not may not. It will not shrink again afterwards. Okay? And right now, this is out of The Independent. Anti-vaccine posts on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter could be banned under new UK laws. All right, this is obviously key because what's everybody talking about? And we're going to get into this very, very in depth right now. Everybody's talking about a vaccine as that's how the whole thing's going to end in like 6, 12, 18 months, right? Most people acknowledge that, but many people, like myself, don't want to take a vaccine. All right? Now, what's the other thing they're suggesting? Well, therapeutics, antivirals. I'm glad we're at least talking about that, okay? You can talk about the hydrochloroquine or hydroxychloroquine. You can talk about the Z-Pak. We've talked about the Gesalim and another, if you've watched my previous broadcast. What I would much rather focus on, though, is the vitamin C the hydrocortisone, the steroids, maybe other steroid type treatments, because a lot of these people are dying of sepsis, okay? And then what we never like to talk about in this country, okay? Stem cells. You notice stem cells have really been suppressed as a treatment and big pharma has been pushed? Why is that? Is it because they work? And this video I've been sharing with you guys, again, from an authoritative source, under 3,000 views. It shows you that these governments that we're supposed to be trusting, they don't really want you to know about that information. And that's why so much of this is contrived and controlled, and we have to be aware of this. So I do want to show that the National Guard is now going to be in New Jersey. There was a lot of talk, and we're going to get into Cuomo yesterday and even today talking of a lockdown for Connecticut, New Jersey, and New York. And we also had Rhode Island, and we'll get into that as well, doing door-to-door searches for New Yorkers and pulling over people with New York plates. Now, Cuomo has said he will sue. So there's a lot of, we're going to have to go over Andrew Cuomo in depth, okay, in this video. But I want to point out, as I have before, that the tip of the iceberg was the idea that the insider trading of these senators, who are just Muppet minions of the predator class anyway, were the only thing we were seeing with this coronavirus. No, look at this. Jeff Bezos sold $3.4 billion of Amazon stock just before COVID-19 collapse. Remember that, okay? So if you don't think guys like Bezos, who are part of this media, military, industrial complex, aren't in the know, aren't part of that class, and again, now working with our government to supply essentials and medical supplies. All right? So let's continue on. This is important, and I'm not sure how it's got 6.6 million views. I'm not sure how the volume is going to be on this. We're going to try to play it. Let's do it.
Would the WHO consider Taiwan's membership?
So let's stop it there. Did you hear what she just asked?
Hello?
I'm sorry, I can't hear. I couldn't hear your question.
Okay, yeah. Let me repeat the question.
No, that's okay. Let's move to another one then.
So this is the organization we're supposed to trust. Taiwan, who seems to have the most measured response, along with who? South Korea, in their handling of this, right? Across the board, it looks that way. Not as much panic, not as much death, a lot of testing, right? So she asks whether they'll allow them inside, and he acts like he doesn't hear the question and ignores her. And then when she wants to repeat it, he says, no, that's okay. Let's move on to another one. But I'm supposed to trust this organization. Surely he'll answer the question, right?
Right, because I'm actually curious on talking about Taiwan as well, on Taiwan's case.
Now you can see him lean in and press off. That wasn't an accident. He hung up on her. Remember, the WHO has a seat at that nice little Event 201 table. They're just so trustworthy. And remember, Taiwan handled this very different than what China did. And China clearly lied about their numbers and clearly used authoritative, oppressive tactics against their people. Probably cleaned up some dissidents along the way. But yet, George Gao of the CDC sits at that same table of WHO representatives. Surely he'll answer the question, right?
We decided to give Dr. Alward another call to follow up.
And I just want to see if you can comment a bit on how Taiwan has done so far in terms of containing the virus.
Well, we've already talked about China, and you know, when you look across all the different areas of China, they've actually all done quite a good job. So with that, I'd like to thank you very much for inviting us.
He literally would not answer her question and praised China and the way they handled this on the way out. I'm supposed to listen to the World Health Organization. I'm supposed to listen to the United Nations. I'm supposed to beg and plead for the World Bank to save me. With the Federal Reserve and the IMF. No. No. No, 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 no. So that should show you how much we should trust, pieces of filth like that guy and their organizations. Okay? That brings me to this right here. All right? Here's another one of those pieces of filth. And don't worry, I've watched the videos on this guy. I know that he covered up a cholera outbreak, that he has no business being a talking head during this thing. But again, what are they pushing? What did they push in Event 201? What are they pushing in real life? Global government, more government, unification, UN control. When there is community trust in the government, then things will happen. Okay, sure. Because you can ensure community ownership and empowerment. This coronavirus is everybody's business. Each and every one of us must contribute. So once again, these wartime rallies, but this time from the WHO, the United Nations. Okay, let's continue on. Oh, so what did we have here? I must have had something else underneath. I guess not. I guess that was where I was putting that one. Sorry, guys. Oh yeah, I wanted to play the Stockton. So I'm just supposed to think that all this tank stuff is normal. They're just on the way to bases. And this is Stockton, California. It's all normal. They would never put tanks in the street. They would never. And by the way, Pence almost said martial law on television. Guys, if you don't understand, we're already in a very soft martial law, which is getting harder and harder in different areas by the day. You're not paying attention. Let's continue on. All right. I want to point this out. When I walked into BJ's today, and remember, these are the big stores that are going to be open. The BJ's, the Walmarts, all right? As more and more shut down, as there's less and less essential services, Massachusetts, I think, just banned alcohol for a week. All right? And there's rumblings that Cuomo may ban tobacco. I don't know if that's true. I believe the Massachusetts thing has been done. So the Coronavirus Prevention Handbook. Everybody's talking about washing their hands. All right? And using sanitizer. And staying 6 feet away from one another. Okay? And this guy who wrote this, of course, published on March 10th, physician from China. Oh, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So that same clique, same crew that does this mock exercise in 2018, and we're going to get to that in a second, Event 201 that we've been going in depth. Yeah, that's the book that I literally see as I walk in and could not miss. Again, stacked up in a nice little piece. Now, I've been talking about this because my Event 201, there's like bot accounts and like other accounts out there that are trying to defend this. They go, hey, Jason, here's a statement about NCOV and our pandemic exercise. Who's R? Who are you? What bot account is this? And that's Johns Hopkins right there. And our partners did not make a prediction during our tabletop exercise. The only thing you did was make predictions. What are you talking about? Johns Hopkins sat there and moderated where everybody was giving a list of events as they went through mock commercials and presentations. And then in anticipation of what to do next, everybody took predictive action. What the are you talking about? For this scenario, we modeled a fictional coronavirus pandemic in October 2019. I know you did. That's why we're doing this. I'm showing the parallels. So I said, yeah, if you've ever seen my series, I specifically go over the scenario of a novel coronavirus originating in a pig on a farm in South America. What exactly was your role in this exercise? He says, we just want to point out that our exercises are purely fictional. Let's straighten out the misinformation. What misinformation? I haven't given any misinformation. The virus did not originate in Wuhan either. Never said it did. In fact, in the previous tweet, I clearly say it's South America. It is neither a Chinese virus nor Wuhan virus. And then they give me this nonsense. I mean,
it's so painful to see the level of stigma we're observing. I remember once, this is long time ago, I was very, very young actually, and there was a lot of destabilization in the world. And
like right now where you're destabilizing everything?
When do human beings stand as one? was a question. And another one was responding, this is in school. When we have a common enemy from another planet, there is a common enemy in this planet itself.
So let's stop. I've talked about this before, and I've never played the clip, but this is where he basically plays that Reagan card. That instead of an alien threat, a global threat against humanity, we now have that threat. And it's here. And we should trust world government and unelected bureaucratic officials and minions of the predator class like this guy. No thanks. By the way, the only other, the account tweets and retweets itself, like also gives it a heart. This is the only other person that gave it a heart. And I believe this girl, woman, sorry, Jessica Parsons, was one of the women that stood up on the podium, the younger woman, and told how many people, had died and where it had spread to and all these other things during their little pandemic that kills, I believe, 65 million people. So the quarantine has been lifted in New Rochelle. Remember, I told you from the very beginning that community spread had already occurred. That was a staging zone for the military. The New Rochelle zone, I believe, was some kind of a Jewish community center, the ones that had tested positive, okay? And I know that they went in and they did some kind of a deep clean in there as well. But really, the hype there was selective testing and selective reporting to get the military where they needed to be before they were outside and now inside of New York City. Now on top of that, the Veterans Memorial Arena, this is about 70, 80 miles away from me over by Binghamton. That's now being converted into a hospital. And a lot of people are saying, oh, well, the hospital, I've seen these videos of people walking in. Look, they're not saying they're overrun now. Not only that, but the patients are going to be on a specific floor. Those hospitals are huge. I can tell you my small hospitals in Oneonta, that Bassett, and you can look that up, now has 6 confirmed cases in it. And that, there's so many nurses here, they're now starting to work more hours. And I can tell you again, the Hampton Inn is commissioned to have more medical professionals coming in. So if you don't think that this is going to overrun, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know why, my friends' girlfriends and people I know are working more and more, and this is being set up. And I don't know why then Cuomo's talking about all of these volunteer workers, and I'm seeing all these military workers, and I'm seeing them set up a triage hospital now in Central Park. Daniel Garcia, what if they are spreading it through chemtrails? I mean, come on, Daniel, I mean, the what ifs on this, we're going to talk about chemtrails right now. I mean, obviously I've done videos on weather modification, but it's just not something I think is, even worth commenting on. So as you can check this out, this is now another triage being set up in Central Park. So this is also very real in the anticipation for this. And remember, each day the goalpost is moving. We're going to play Cuomo in a second. But you can see it, guys. I mean, they're doing this. They're making these. And from what I'm hearing, once you're on intubation, the longer you're on intubation, forget about it. There are only a few people that are really getting off the intubation, from what I understand. Okay? And that's going to be a harsh reality for some people. Now, as I said, they were going door to door with National Guard in Rhode Island, and Cuomo basically threatened to sue. Apparently, they've backed down, but this was absolutely happening. Okay? That if they saw a New York plate in your driveway, knock, knock, knock. Knock, knock, knock. So, I also, I was talking about people being intubated, but there are people that are dying from this that are younger. Let's see, absolutely amount. Hey, Jason, make a podcast with Richie from Boston. Who's Richie from Boston? I don't know who that is. Yeah, I have no idea. And, I've talked about this because one of the things that they talked about in Event 201 was that basically if you gave out misinformation or disinformation, you were a bad actor, you were a bot or worked on behalf of a state, you go to jail. And that coincides with this counterintelligence document right here, where, again, leaktivists, hacktivists, ISIS, Hezbollah, they're all in the same thing right there. Public disclosure organizations pose significant threats. This is real. This is something that's signed off by Donnie Trump himself, okay? So, and again, we're supposed to trust these organizations. We saw how much we should trust the World Health Organization. And remember, Tom Inglesby of Johns Hopkins, he's the moderator of this event 201, and this study said that the U.S. was more prepared than anybody else. Well, then why didn't we do it like China? Or not China, I'm sorry. I'm glad we're not doing it like China. We better not get to China, all right? But Lord knows what the country looks like in a few weeks, because the community spread's been there, all right? And the hype and anything else. But obviously, Johns Hopkins is about as reliable as the World Health Organization, who won't acknowledge Taiwan. That's what I was trying to say, is that why didn't we do it like Taiwan? Massive testing for anybody that wanted it. Because, again, once you're asymptomatic and you're passing, I mean, come on. Of course, the headlines changed. And I just wanted to talk about Trump moving the goalpost, talking about 30 days, etc. Now, I want to move on to this clip and talk a lot about Cuomo here. Now, silently, more and more prisoners are being let out of jail, too. And I think that, Cuomo's just really good at easement. Like today, this is yesterday's press conference, but today he talked about, Sundays and pasta with meatballs and sausages that he bought at the market that his kids didn't want to eat, but he loves spending it with his family and he understands. And they went for Chinese food afterwards. I mean, he's a real personable fella. Now, here's my question. Is he just calming people before the actual storm, not one made up on message boards, of total martial law? Or is he pushing back a little bit? All right, so let's listen to what he has to say, and let's see how genuine you think he may be.
On Jesse's question here, the president said he's looking at some sort of enforceable quarantine for New York, New Jersey, parts of the tri-state area. Is that a sound policy from your perspective, or would you advise against that?
Let's stop. So Trump, after this, had tweeted about it after his speech and then kind of backed off on this. So let's hear what Cuomo had to say about
it. I don't even know what that means. I don't know how that could be legally enforceable. And from a medical point of view, I don't know what you would be accomplishing. But I can tell you, I don't even like the sound of it. Not even understanding what it is, I don't like the sound of it.
And Dr. Zucker, on the same topic of quarantine, there are folks in New Rochelle who have been quarantined for 24, 25 days now. There's some confusion about whether the state is following the CDC guidance that says you have to go X amount of days without being symptomatic, or whether you should have to pass a second test to be let out of quarantine. What is the state's guidance on
that? That has been lifted, the quarantine for those individuals.
See that? So again, New Rochelle was really, again, just a staging zone for the military. And, to Cuomo's credit, he's saying it's illegal. He also says, it's a scary proposition, and I agree with him. But I don't know that I trust him. I feel like if we can somehow manage this, and look, he talked about the hydroxychloroquine. I wish we could get the vitamin C. I wish we could get the steroids. I wish we could get the stem cells, the other antivirals in the conversation. So then hopefully we don't have a bloodbath in this country like we're seeing in other first world nations like Italy and Spain. I will say this, guys. Shepard Ambellis, he was in the chat right now, and he does great work. I think that's a pretty good wrap-up for what we have today. Later on tonight, I think I'm going to do an Ask Me Anything outside of coronavirus news. All right? So, guys, thumbs this video up, subscribe, share, join the Burmese Brigade if you can financially support me. I got the GoFundMe. Definitely going to be doing an exclusive over at Rockfin on Tuesday, hopefully an extensive exclusive. And once again, thank you for everybody that's joined me in the past couple of days and weeks. We're at 45,000. Let's get to 50,000 subscribers, huh? Let's share this information with people. Let's not spread fear and panic. Let's spread all the information that's out there and question that information for sure. All right? So, guys, I love you, and I will see you all on the flip side.